Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about life. It's a journey filled with twists, turns, and unexpected challenges. Sometimes it feels like the world is on your shoulders and the weight is too much to bear. You've been there, I know you have. Sleepless nights, restless days, looking for answers that seem just out of reach. But let me tell you this, you don't have to carry that load alone. There comes a point, my friends, when you have to stop fighting the current and start trusting the one who made the river. You hear me? Stop trying to control everything, every moment, every detail. You can't do it all, not by yourself. Life isn't designed for you to bear it all on your own. There is power in surrender. There is peace in release. When the storms come, and they will come, you've got to know where your anchor is. Don't let the winds of doubt and fear pull you under. Don't let the noise of the world drown out the voice that's been guiding you all along. Give it to God. Take all that worry, all that fear, all that pain, and lay it at His feet. You see, giving it to God doesn't mean you give up. Oh no, it means you give over. You let go of what's holding you back and you let Him do what only He can do. You trust His timing, His plan, His purpose for your life. And let me tell you, His plan, it's always better than ours. You may not see the whole picture right now. You may not understand why things are happening the way they are. But trust me, there's a purpose in your pain, a reason for your struggle, a lesson in your trials. You're being shaped, molded, refined. And when you come out on the other side, you'll be stronger, wiser, better than before. But you've got to let Him work. You've got to step back and say, all right, Lord, I trust you. I don't have all the answers, but I know you do. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I believe you're already working it out. So tonight I'm asking you, what are you holding on to? What's weighing you down? What's keeping you up at night? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it anger or bitterness? Whatever it is, give it to Him. Let it go. And when you do, something incredible happens. You find freedom. You find strength. You find peace that doesn't make sense to the world. That's the kind of peace He gives. It's not the absence of trouble. No, it's the presence of trust. It's knowing that no matter what comes your way, you're in good hands. So go ahead. Take that step of faith. Release it, surrender it, give it to God, and then just watch what He will do. Because He's got you. He always has, and He always will. Here are 6 keynotes from the speech. You don't have to carry it alone. Life's challenges are not meant to be faced in isolation. Trusting in a higher power provides relief from the burdens you carry. Surrender brings strength. Giving your struggles to God is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. Letting go enables divine guidance to take over. Trust the bigger plan. Even in moments of confusion and pain, believe that there's a purpose and a lesson in every trial you face. Peace comes through trust. True peace doesn't come from avoiding problems, but from trusting that God is in control, even during life's storms. Let go of what weighs you down. Release the fears, doubts, and anger that hold you back. Giving these burdens to God allows room for growth and renewal. Faith unlocks freedom. Surrendering your worries opens the door to freedom, strength, and a sense of peace that surpasses human understanding. Life is a journey, and along that path, we often encounter challenges, trials, and moments that feel overwhelming. It's in these moments when the weight of it all seems too much to bear that we realize an essential truth: we don't have to carry it alone. The idea of shouldering life's burdens entirely on our own is a myth society often perpetuates, and it leaves many of us feeling isolated, drained, and defeated. But there is freedom in understanding that we are not designed to do it all by ourselves. The pressures of daily life, the expectations we place on ourselves, and those that others impose on us can stack up quickly. We strive to meet deadlines, fulfill responsibilities, and maintain relationships, all while battling internal struggles no one else may see. It can feel like the world is on your shoulders, and no matter how hard you try, the load only grows heavier. The truth is, human strength has its limits. There's no shame in admitting that. In fact, it's one of the most liberating realizations you can have. Acknowledging that you don't have to bear life's burdens alone is the first step to releasing them. It's a step toward accepting that there is a source of strength far greater than your own, one that can lift the weight off your shoulders and carry you through even the darkest of days. When you give your struggles to God, you invite divine help into your life. It's not about resigning yourself to fate or giving up. It's about recognizing that you have access to a higher power that is always ready to support you. Too often, we hesitate to reach out for help, whether from God or from others. Society tells us that independence and self-reliance are the ultimate markers of strength. We are taught to push through pain, keep our struggles hidden, and figure it out on our own. But this mindset can lead to burnout, despair, and a sense of isolation that keeps us trapped in a cycle of self-sufficiency that was never meant to be. We are relational beings designed to connect with others and with our Creator. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it is an act of courage and humility. When you give your burdens to God, you are not abandoning responsibility for your life. Instead, you are partnering with the one who knows you better than anyone else ever could. You are choosing to trust in His wisdom, His timing, and His ability to work all things together for your good. It's about letting go of the illusion of control and embracing the peace that comes from knowing you are not alone in the fight. There's a deep sense of relief that comes with this kind of surrender. You begin to see that your value is not tied to how much you can handle on your own. Your worth is not determined by how well you juggle all the demands placed on you. By giving it to God, you open yourself up to the strength, guidance, and comfort that only He can provide. You realize that His power is made perfect in your weakness, and through Him, you can overcome challenges that once seemed insurmountable. When the storms of life rage, and the path ahead feels uncertain, remember that you don't have to walk it alone. Lean on God, and let Him carry what you cannot. It's not just about lightening the load, it's about transforming the journey itself. With God by your side, even the heaviest burdens become opportunities for growth, renewal, and deeper faith. Let go and let Him guide you through every trial, every challenge, and every moment where the weight feels too heavy to bear. You don't have to carry it alone because you were never meant to. Surrender is a word that often carries connotations of defeat, weakness, or giving up. Yet, when it comes to life's struggles, surrendering to God is one of the most profound acts of strength a person can embrace. It's not about quitting or losing, it's about recognizing the limits of human effort and inviting divine power into the situation. True strength is not found in holding on tightly to control, but in letting go and trusting the one who is infinitely stronger than we are. Think about the times when you've tried to solve every problem on your own. You strategized, planned, worked tirelessly, and still found yourself stuck in the same place or worse, drained of energy and hope. There's a reason for that. We are not designed to navigate life's challenges purely on the strength of our own willpower. Life is full of complexities that go beyond what human understanding can handle. But in surrender, you release the need to have all the answers, and in doing so, you make space for something greater. Strength through surrender is not about passivity, it's about partnership. When you surrender your worries, your fears, and your battles to God, you are not stepping back, you're stepping into alignment with a higher plan. It's like giving up the reins of a wild horse to a skilled rider who knows the terrain far better than you do. You're not giving up the journey, you're simply trusting someone who knows how to navigate it better. This kind of surrender requires courage, humility, and faith. It's not easy to admit that we don't have it all figured out, but it's incredibly freeing once we do. There's a paradox in surrender. By releasing control, you gain strength. When you acknowledge your limitations and hand over your struggles to God, you tap into a source of power that is unlimited. It's the kind of strength that doesn't rely on physical endurance or mental calculations. It's a strength born of faith, trust, and the assurance that you are not in this alone. This strength enables you to face circumstances that would otherwise overwhelm you. It allows you to keep going, not because of what you can do, but because of what God is doing through you. Surrendering to God doesn't mean that the challenges will magically disappear. What it does mean is that the weight of carrying those challenges alone is lifted. You stop trying to force outcomes and start trusting that the outcomes are already in God's hands. There's a shift that happens when you surrender. Your focus moves from the problem to the provider. You stop asking, how can I fix this? And start asking, how can I trust Him in this? The strength that comes from surrender also brings clarity. When you're no longer consumed by the need to control every aspect of your life, you begin to see things differently. You notice the lessons in the struggles, the beauty in the process, and the ways in which God is working even in the hardest moments. Surrender allows you to step back and recognize that every challenge is an opportunity for growth, every trial a chance to build your faith. In a world that celebrates independence and self-reliance, surrendering to God might feel counterintuitive. But the truth is, it's the most powerful decision you can make. By letting go of your need to control, you're not giving up, you're giving over. You're allowing God to step in and do what only He can do. His strength becomes your strength, and His peace becomes your peace. Strength through surrender is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice, a constant choice to release your grip on the things you cannot control. Each time you do, you're reminded that true power lies not in holding on, but in letting go. With every act of surrender, you grow stronger not in your own might, but in the knowledge that God's strength is made perfect in your weakness. And that is a strength that no challenge can overcome. Life often unfolds in ways we can't predict, and more often than not, it doesn't follow the plans we've so carefully laid out. We work hard, set goals, and dream of how things should be, only to find ourselves facing unexpected twists, setbacks, and disappointments. In these moments, it's natural to question, to wonder why things are happening the way they are. But there's a deeper truth we must remember. There is a bigger plan at work, one that goes far beyond our understanding, and it is always for our ultimate good. Trusting the bigger plan means accepting that our perspective is limited. We see only what's right in front of us, the immediate situation and the emotions that come with it. But God sees the entire picture. He knows where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. He weaves together the pieces of your life, the joys, the sorrows, the victories, and the struggles into something beautiful and purposeful. What might seem like a detour or a dead end to us is often a vital part of that plan. It's not easy to trust when life feels chaotic. When things fall apart, when doors close, or when we face pain and loss, it's tempting to believe that we've been abandoned or that everything is spiraling out of control. But trusting the bigger plan requires faith that even in the midst of the storm, God is at work. He doesn't waste a single moment, a single tear, or a single experience. Every challenge we face is an opportunity for growth, for learning, and for becoming the person we were meant to be. Sometimes the purpose behind our struggles isn't immediately clear. You might not understand why you didn't get the job you wanted, why a relationship ended, or why you're facing a particular trial. It can feel unfair, even cruel. But often, hindsight reveals what faith must embrace in the moment, that those disappointments were not rejections, but redirections. God closes doors not to punish us, but to guide us toward the doors He has prepared for us, doors that lead to something far greater than we could have imagined. Trusting the bigger plan also means letting go of the need to control every detail. We like to feel in control. It gives us a sense of security. But the truth is, control is an illusion. No matter how much we plan or prepare, life will always have its surprises. Trying to control everything only leads to frustration and anxiety. When we trust God's plan, we can release that need for control and rest in the assurance that He's got it covered. His timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with ours. Faith in the bigger plan doesn't mean you won't have questions or doubts. It's okay to wrestle with uncertainty. It's part of being human. Trusting God doesn't mean you'll always understand what He's doing, but it does mean believing that He is good, even when circumstances aren't. It's about holding on to the truth that His ways are higher than our ways and His thoughts higher than our thoughts. In trusting the bigger plan, you also come to understand that God's purpose is not just about external success or comfort. His goal is to shape your character, deepen your faith, and prepare you for the destiny He has designed for you. Sometimes that process involves challenges that refine you, stripping away the things that hinder your growth and drawing you closer to Him. It's in those moments of refinement that you discover strength, resilience, and faith you didn't know you had. When you trust the bigger plan, you can face life's uncertainties with confidence. You may not know what the future holds, but you know who holds the future. You can walk forward not because you have all the answers, but because you trust the one who does. And that trust transforms every moment, every joy, every struggle, every question into a step toward the purpose for which you were created. In a world filled with uncertainty and chaos, peace often feels elusive. We chase after it, hoping that the absence of conflict or the resolution of problems will bring us the calm we so desperately seek. Yet, time and time again, we discover that peace derived from circumstances is fleeting. The truth is, Real peace, lasting, unshakable peace, comes not from the absence of trouble, but from the presence of trust. It comes from knowing that no matter what storms arise, God is in control, and His plan is unfolding perfectly. Trusting God is not a passive act, it's a deliberate choice to shift your focus. When the challenges of life mount, it's easy to fixate on the problems, replaying them in your mind and trying to figure out solutions. This cycle only breeds anxiety, frustration, and exhaustion. Trust invites you to step out of that cycle. Instead of dwelling on what's wrong, you look toward the one who is always right. You stop asking, why is this happening? And start asking, how can I lean into God's strength during this time? The peace that trust brings is different from anything the world can offer. The world promises peace through temporary fixes, success, financial security, or the approval of others. But these are fragile foundations. The moment circumstances change, that kind of peace crumbles. Trusting God, however, roots your peace in something unchanging. His character, His promises, and His love remain steadfast no matter what's happening around you. This is the peace that surpasses all understanding, the kind that can sustain you even in the darkest of times. Trusting God doesn't mean you ignore reality or pretend that problems don't exist. It means acknowledging the difficulties while choosing to believe that God is greater than them. It's recognizing that His power and wisdom far surpass our own. When you trust Him, you're not denying the storm, you're declaring that the storm does not define you. You're placing your confidence in the one who calms the seas and carries you through the winds and waves. This kind of trust requires surrender. It means releasing the tight grip you have on control and allowing God to take the lead. So often we hold on to our plans and timelines, convinced that we know what's best. But control is an illusion. Trying to manage every detail of life on your own only leads to stress and weariness. When you let go and trust God, you're not giving up, you're giving over. You're acknowledging that He sees the bigger picture, knows what lies ahead, and is already working all things for your good. As you cultivate trust, you'll find that your perspective begins to shift. Problems that once seemed insurmountable start to look like opportunities for growth. You begin to see the ways in which God is moving, even in the midst of challenges. His presence becomes a source of comfort, reminding you that you are never alone. This assurance doesn't necessarily change your circumstances, but it changes you. It gives you the strength to endure, the courage to move forward, and the calm to rest even when the path ahead is unclear. The peace that comes from trust also extends to your relationships with others. When you're secure in God's care, you're less likely to act out of fear, anger, or frustration. You can approach others with grace and patience because you're not carrying the weight of anxiety on your shoulders. Trusting God allows you to be a source of peace for those around you, reflecting His love and steadiness in a world that desperately needs it. Ultimately, peace through trust is not about avoiding challenges, but about transforming how you face them. It's about walking through life with the confidence that God is with you, guiding you, and providing for you every step of the way. The storms may rage, but they cannot shake the foundation of trust you've built in Him. And in that trust, you find a peace that nothing and no one can take away. Life has a way of piling burdens on our shoulders. Some of these burdens are external responsibilities at work, family obligations, financial pressures, while others weigh on us internally. Worries about the future, regrets from the past, fears, doubts, and even bitterness can accumulate until we feel crushed under their weight. Carrying these burdens alone can lead to exhaustion, both physically and emotionally. But there is a way to find freedom, a way to breathe deeply again by letting go of what weighs you down and giving it to God. Holding on to burdens can feel natural, even necessary, at times. We convince ourselves that we need to handle everything, solve every problem, and figure out every detail of our lives. We carry our pain, anger, and fears as though letting them go would mean losing control. Yet this constant grasping at control only tightens the chains that bind us. The truth is, the longer we hold on to our burdens, the heavier they become. What starts as a small worry can grow into crippling anxiety. A single hurt can fester into deep resentment. These weights don't just affect us, they spill into our relationships, our work, and our ability to find joy in life. Letting go is an act of trust and courage. It's not easy to release what you've been holding on to for so long. You might feel that if you don't carry it, no one else will, or that giving it up is a sign of weakness. But letting go is not giving up. It's giving over. It's recognizing that you don't have to bear the weight of life on your own. When you hand your burdens to God, you are not abandoning your responsibilities, you are inviting Him to carry what you were never meant to hold in the first place. Fear often keeps us from letting go. We fear what might happen if we release control. We worry that if we don't keep our guard up, things will fall apart. But fear is a liar. It tells us that we're alone, that no one understands, and that nothing will change unless we fix it ourselves. Trusting God means choosing to silence that voice of fear and listen to the truth instead. The truth is, God cares about you deeply. He sees the burdens you're carrying, and He invites you to lay them down. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest, He says. That promise is not just comforting, it's liberating. When you let go of your burdens, you make space for healing. Anger and bitterness, for example, can take root in your heart and steal your joy. They act as barriers, keeping you from experiencing peace and love. By giving those feelings to God, you allow Him to transform them. He can replace anger with forgiveness, bitterness with compassion, and pain with hope. It's not an overnight process, but every step you take toward releasing those weights brings you closer to freedom. Letting go also allows you to focus on what truly matters. When you're consumed by worry or regret, it's hard to be present in the moment. You miss the beauty of today because you're too caught up in the what-ifs of tomorrow or the if-onlys of yesterday. By surrendering your burdens to God, you free your mind and heart to embrace the present. You begin to see His blessings more clearly, even in the midst of challenges. Finally, letting go of what weighs you down is not a one-time event. It's a daily decision, a continual practice of surrender. There will be days when the burdens creep back in, and that's okay. Each time you have the choice to release them again. And as you do, you'll find that the weight becomes lighter, your steps more confident, and your heart more at peace. Life is too short to be spent carrying unnecessary burdens. Let them go, give them to God, and trust that He will provide the strength, guidance, and peace you need. It's in that release that you discover the freedom to live fully, love deeply, and walk boldly into the future He has prepared for you. Faith is not just a belief, it's a foundation. It's what anchors us when life feels uncertain and storms threaten to overwhelm us. But faith is not static, it's something that must be exercised and strengthened over time. Building and deepening your faith is a lifelong process, and it's one that requires intentionality, perseverance, and trust. Faith doesn't grow in the absence of challenges, it grows because of them. And when you commit to nurturing your faith, you find that it becomes a source of strength, comfort, and guidance in every area of your life. One of the most important steps in building and deepening your faith is developing a personal relationship with God. This relationship isn't about rituals or routines, it's about connection. Just as a friendship or marriage requires communication and time to grow, your relationship with God thrives when you invest in it. Prayer is one of the most powerful tools for this. Through prayer, you're not only sharing your heart with God, but also opening yourself to hear His voice. Prayer isn't about perfect words or grand gestures, it's about being honest and present. Whether you're expressing gratitude, seeking guidance, or pouring out your struggles, prayer is the foundation of a faith-filled life. Reading and meditating on God's Word is another essential part of building your faith. The Bible is more than a historical document or a set of teachings. It's a living and active source of truth that speaks to the core of who you are. When you spend time in Scripture, you're reminded of God's promises, His character, and His plan for your life. The stories of those who have walked in faith before you, people who face trials, doubts, and fears, become a source of encouragement. Their victories and struggles serve as a testament to the power of faith and the faithfulness of God. Faith also deepens through action. It's one thing to believe in God's promises, but it's another to live as though you truly trust them. Taking steps of faith, even when the outcome is uncertain, strengthens your belief. It's in those moments of stepping out in obedience, whether it's pursuing a calling, forgiving someone who has hurt you, or letting go of a fear, that you experience God's presence in a profound way. Every act of trust builds a deeper connection with Him and reinforces your confidence in His goodness. Challenges and trials are inevitable, but they are also opportunities for growth. Faith isn't proven in times of ease, it's proven in the valleys, in the moments when the path ahead is unclear. When you face adversity, you have a choice to let fear and doubt take over or to lean into your faith. It's in choosing to trust God in those moments, despite your circumstances, that your faith is refined. Like a muscle, faith becomes stronger when it's exercised. The more you rely on God in difficult times, the more you see His hand at work, and the deeper your faith becomes. Community also plays a vital role in strengthening faith. Surrounding yourself with others who share your beliefs provides encouragement, accountability, and support. Faith was never meant to be a solo journey. When you walk alongside others who are seeking God, you're reminded that you're not alone. Their experiences, prayers, and insights can inspire you to persevere, and you, in turn, can be a source of strength for them. Finally, building and deepening your faith requires patience and grace for yourself and for the process. Faith doesn't grow overnight, and it's not a linear path. There will be moments of doubt, frustration, and even stagnation. But those moments don't define your faith journey. What matters is your willingness to keep seeking, keep trusting, and keep growing. Faith is about progress, not perfection. And as you continue to nurture it, you'll find that it sustains you, anchors you, and transforms you. In the end, faith isn't just about what you believe, it's about how you live. It's about trusting God in the small moments and the big ones, letting His truth guide your decisions, and allowing His love to shape your perspective. When you commit to building and deepening your faith, you're creating a foundation that can withstand any storm. And through that faith, you'll discover a life filled with hope, purpose, and the unshakable assurance that God is with you every step of the way. In life's uncertainties, trust God. Surrender your burdens, embrace His peace, and rely on His bigger plan. Strengthen your faith daily, knowing His love, timing, and purpose never fail. Give it all to God, and find freedom, hope, and unshakable joy.